Hello, it's Dennis Murray again, Pop, and this is Popcast number 3, and it's called More on Recreating the Middle. A couple of things to begin with. I have a grandson who was kind enough to give me some pointers after my first two Popcasts. And one of them was skip the recap of the prior podcast and just tell people um, go to the channel, my channel called Change the World on YouTube, and you can then find the links to the prior podcasts. I'm calling them Popcast because, it seems like a fun thing to do. So, pardon me if I forget to say podcasts occasionally. Okay, so the other thing my grandson said to me was that I had mentioned that there were some uh, books that supported some of the ideas that I had brought up in the first two podcasts, and that I should attach links to those books to the description of the podcast that's on YouTube. So I'm going to do that today for two books that I'm going to talk to you about for a minute. So I'm not really, all that comfortable with how this works. But from what I can tell, I've figured out how to create a live link, and I figured out how to put it into the YouTube description for this podcast. And you got to figure out how to go find that description and click on the link if you want to look into the book the easy way. Um, there's two books that I want to cite. Uh, one is called, pardon me, I took my glasses off because the damn things have a glare on the face of them. And I'm not particularly vain, as you can easily tell. But it just seems irritating to me to have the reflections of the two windows in my room on my glasses. So anyway, I got to put them on to read. So the first book is called Evolution in Four Dimensions, and it's by Eva Jablonka and Marion Lamb. There was a revised edition in 2014, which is important for you to select if you're interested in reading or buying this book. It's published by the MIT Press in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Jablonka is, a practicing scientist in the field of evolutionary biology, and she's explaining that the old neo-Darwinist group still clings to the idea that evolution only occurs by uh, random generation of modifications of our genetic material, so-called selection. And she says that an awful lot of the younger evolutionary biologists have come to appreciate that culture itself is in a relationship to other uh, natural processes uh, to cause our uh, psychology to evolve. And the four processes she lists are the ones we know about for a long time: genetic, and then three others: epigenetic, which means the things that turn on and off of the genes, behavioral and symbolic, which have to do with human culture and human learning. So there's a link to that book on the website. And the other one is this wonderful book, Common Sense Spirituality. It's by a Benedictine monk named David Steindl Podcast, and it's published by Crossroads Publishing, uh, and it's full of rare wisdom and insight, in my opinion. Um, okay, so I've spent quite a bit of time just setting things up, but I want to get to recreating the middle. I want to add to that. It begins by refreshing our connection to the awe in our depths, and that awe includes a sense of connection to the world and to each other. So, that's why refreshing our connection to all gives us a refreshed connection to each other. And this sense of connection is the key change. So I'm talking about changing the world by changing yourself. Well, the key change I'm talking about is refresh your sense of connection to others and gain an appreciation and understanding of them that you um, will find very appealing to them. The middle is essentially a place where people exist who are not in betweeners, not people who just compromised everything of importance out of existence in order to get along, but people who stand for something. And the something they stand for is celebrating the gift of each other. Um, our species has a psychology unique in the universe as far as we know, in that we are extremely connected to each other in a way that no other species is. We could call this the gift of each other because it isn't enough to be given life. Once you become aware of death and of hate and of necessity to work and of unfairness, um, you're just emotionally, psychologically overwhelmed and very, very dependent on your profound social connection with the others around you. And so the whole thing of about creating the middle, recreating the middle, uh, is an appreciation of this sense that we are a gift to each other. And in that appreciation begins something very, very fruitful, very fecund. It attracts and appeals to those on the extreme positions who are mostly filled by anger at the other at this moment in time. And it can begin a healing, soothing process um, where you begin it in you and others see it in you and are drawn to it and want to know more about it. And its key is you don't tell them, well, think this way instead of that way. Uh, it's you suggest to them that if you go inside and have a reconnection to the awe in you, you will come up refreshed and with a greater sense of connection, and hence will be in the middle. Um, and there is such a thing as the miracle of the expanding middle. When people are at loggerheads with each other and somebody makes a move towards the other, the middle of the room, which seemed pretty far away, suddenly expands to include both of them where they stand, one step in from the center. So if you want to change the world, change yourself, and in this way, where others can see that something's changed in you, you've become more tolerant and understanding, and you seem to be very much living the gift of each other. And they're going to want to know how that came about and what that's all about. And in the process of being appealed, being drawn towards what you're doing, you succeed in helping others change themselves and hence the world. Okay, I seem to be doing worse about 5 minutes because this is almost 10. So my apologies. Tomorrow we're going to talk more about the gift of each other. Thank you. Bye bye.